This room had great bones, great natural light, and so many beautiful original details. From the beginning, I really wanted to design this house as an experience. I didn't want to play it safe. I wanted to lean into this dark, moody, academia-inspired feeling and create spaces that make you feel a little bit transported when you walk into them. I wanted there to be nostalgia baked into the house. I wanted it to somehow feel familiar, even if you've never been here before. So I wasn't designing around the safest or most practical choices. I was designing for a feeling. I wanted these rooms to have personality, and I wanted them to be memorable. This living room was going to be a huge part of creating that feeling because even with everything it had going for it, it was still missing a heartbeat. Welcome back to the renovation series. This is episode 18, and we're finally giving this room one. It is time to figure out what we are doing with this fireplace mantle. It's painted white right now. I originally wanted to strip it, but that's going to be so much work, and I think eventually I will. I just don't have time right now because I got to get this house done. So I think we're just going to paint it for now. I brought up a whole bunch of my paint samples that I already had, and we're just gonna try some paint samples and see what we like. I also need to take measurements of this because I'm gonna get a gas insert installed, and I need to go to the showroom and see what my options are. I just have all this stuff in there because there is like a soot chute and Jackson's ball goes down it. So we have a little barrier so that doesn't happen. Alrighty, got some samples. Let's go through them. So what we need to keep in mind is the color drenching of the sulking room pink, as well as like the yellowy orange of the Venetian plaster. Right, so here are my thoughts. I think the stone lion, the one up top, is a great choice. It is muted, it's neutral, it's really nice, it meshes with everything. I think it's a really safe choice. So the one below that is pigeon. I really love this color, but it's not for here, especially when it's paired against the sulking room pink. It looks a little coastal or a little like just too feminine. The drop cloth below that is a really pretty color. I love that color. I will use it somewhere, but it's too cool toned for in here. The red barn is really nice. That's what we have in the kitchen, and it might be nice to have the red barn referenced somewhere else in the house rather than just the kitchen. And then the Hasbrook brown reads a little bit maroony, which is really nice compared to the sulking room pink. Like, it's a nice complement because they're in the same like purple family. What do we think? I don't know, I'm gonna need to sit on it for a day. So I think I want to go with like a black color. So it has to work well with this orangey terracotta, the sulking room pink, and the brick. No, these are more a little bit purpley. Purple could kind of be cool. These are like the greens. Black bean soup is like a deep brown. That's kind of pretty. Come a little closer. Come a little closer. I feel like you guys are so far away. Okay, so one of the first things I did in this room was I color drenched the whole room in Farrow & Ball's sulking room pink, and I love it. I ruminated over this paint color, I want to say, for like 6 months. It was 100% the right choice. And I love that I color drenched. I even painted the ceiling, the trim, everything in the same sulking room pink color. And it's so great. It shifts throughout the day. In the morning, it looks like a little like taupey mauve, but at night it takes on this historic museum quality. It is so stunning. It feels luxurious. It feels rich. Everybody I've had in here is like, what is this color? What is it? I love it. I don't know why I love it, but I love it. I will say all of Farrow & Ball colors are really nuanced and really unique. And if you're searching for a Farrow & Ball color, but if you live in the States, it's really hard to come by. You have to import it. It's pretty expensive. You can go to your local Benjamin Moore hardware store. I like to go to my local True Value or Ace Hardware. They carry Benjamin Moore paint, and they can color match. They have like a little computer system where they can type in the like Farrow & Ball and the color code, and they can like make it for you. I'm actually going to do a paint roundup review here in a couple weeks because I've used so many paint brands and colors over the years where I've learned a lot, and I feel like you guys would benefit from knowing my ideas and opinions on all of the different like paint brands and what they have to offer. So let me know if you're interested in that, and I will make that in the next couple weeks. And once I got the color drenching done in this living room, I knew I wanted this mantle, this fireplace, to like be even more moodier. So I tested out a whole bunch of different paint colors. I was leaning towards a color called like coffee bean, or no, it's called bean soup. And it was like a deep, rich brown, and I really liked that. But I landed on this one, and it is called Bewitched. And I actually did it in the bathroom too. We'll get to that. But this is like this really rich oxblood kind of maroony color. I love it. It's dramatic. It's a little gothic. It's not for everybody, but it is for moi. Come here. Come a little bit closer, because I have a secret to tell you. I might be mildly designing this house around Christmas. I mean, I didn't fully understand what I was doing until I was like, yeah, I'm actually definitely doing this. Now, if you have ever seen Home Alone, I mean, I'm sure you have, everybody has. Look at the Home Alone house. Everything in that house is either red or green. And everything in my house is kind of either red or green. It has that nostalgia vibe. I mean, look, green corduroy couch, oxblood mantle, tartan throw pillows. I mean, every room feels warm, cozy, inviting, intentional, layered, and like Christmas, even when it's not Christmas. So before any of this happened, there was a massive cast iron stove in here. And when I'm talking massive, I'm talking like 500 pounds. It took 3 grown adults to move this thing inch by inch out of here. I sold it on Facebook Marketplace, and get this, you guys want to hear a cute little story? The guy who bought the cast iron fireplace was friends with the sculptor who made the Wall Street Bull. And he was, the guy who bought the fireplace was one of the guys who delivered the Wall Street Bull. They just like put it on Wall Street in the middle of the night. It was never commissioned. This guy just made it and put it there. And then it was too heavy to move. And the city was like, well, I guess we keep it. So originally I was thinking about putting another wood burning fireplace in here, but I've met people. And I don't trust people on knowing how to use a fireplace, especially indoors, especially people coming up from the city who've never built a fire in their lives. They're going to come here and build a fire in my fireplace and burn my house down. Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. So gas is definitely the way to go, especially if you have a rental. It's safer, it's cleaner, it's less work. It's you push a button, bada bing, bada boom. You got heat, you got ambiance, and you have safety. So we went with gas. No worrying, just vibes. You want to hear another story, another nitty gritty story? Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, so I was doing a lot of the major renovations of this house on a renovation loan. And the way that works is you find a contractor, you get them to give you a bid, and then they have to split that bid into labor and materials, right? So the bank will pay them 50% of materials up front as a deposit. Then after the work is done and after the inspection, the contractor gets the rest of the money, right? Win-win for everybody. So I was calling around, getting all these bids, right? And I was going to go with this one company because they were a little bit cheaper and they were just like a distributor. They didn't have like a showroom for all of their fireplaces. They were just like a distributor. So I met with a salesman. Holy cannoli. Talk about a runaround. It felt very scammy. And then the chimney also needed exterior brickwork. So I was trying to find a mason who knew how to do all of this work too, but then like the mason guy needed to set up his own scaffold, and then the fireplace guy would have to come out and set up their own scaffold to get the liner into the chimney. So I'm like, this is crazy. Let me just find one contractor who can do the exterior masonry work and then also install the fireplace. And I found a local guy who's pretty incredible, and he did all of that. He was out of the budget. I did have to pay a pretty penny out of pocket. Hindsight, like, I'm so happy I decided to pay a little extra out of pocket to have this local company that I went with, because trying to I wasn't cheaping out, but I was trying to stick to my budget, and going with the distributor guy, not the way to go. So if you are looking to get your own fireplace insert done and you need exterior brickwork or anything like that, try to get one contractor who does both, because they can set up the scaffold one time. My guy pulled all of the right permits. He did it in a timely fashion. The masonry work is beautiful. They took the time to go in and like grind out all of the previous mortar lines and then put new mortar in. The flashing around the chimney to the roof is great. There's no leaks. It's perfect. It's sealed. Like, I'm so happy. Like, you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. And I feel like I have to relearn that lesson all the time. All right, come on over. I'm going to show you the actual fireplace. This is the Valor G4. I wanted something simple and classic and timeless and sleek. And I didn't need a blower. This house is relatively compact. So a blower wasn't super necessary to get the heat moving around. You just hold the button on. When you first turn it on, the flames are a little bit more blue, but then once everything starts heating up inside, the logs start to get that like ember looking orange, and then the flames go a little bit more yellow. And then it's so easy, you can just turn it up, turn it down with your remote. The easiest fire ever, right? It's so cozy, it's so nice. I really like the log formation in here, if you guys can see it. This is the driftwood that comes with it. I wanted to do the birch at first, but the birch logs were kind of a little bit sparse, and I thought the driftwood just kind of seemed a little bit more substantial. You see the flames are now like yellow and orange. It takes about 10 minutes for the blue flame to kind of turn into this. My favorite things about this fireplace is it's become one of Jackson's favorite spots. As soon as it turns on, he's got his toys, he's curled up in front of it, he's playing in front of it. He loves it so much. When I bought this house, I thought I was just installing a fireplace, but what I was really doing was creating a feeling, creating a place where people wanted to linger, a place where people wanted to gather, creating the feeling of home. And sometimes that's all a house is missing, just something that makes you want to stay a while. All right, thanks guys for hanging out with me on today's video. I will see you all on the next one where I share what's above the mantle. It's a secret. Well, it's not a secret anymore. But next week, I'm going to show you the painting I made to go above the mantle. All right, see you on the next one. Bye.